Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Sultans of Swap. I think this is lucky number 13. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter or on the YouTube, however you came across. Appreciate you checking in. I'm joined by, as always, Mr. Edwin Anderson. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty good, guys. Happy Sunday to you. Quick shout out to one of our big fans, Jay Harper. It's his birthday today, so
That's
big
right.
happy
Happy
birthday to Jay
birthday.
Harper.
Even though he's a Canadian, we still wish him a happy birthday.
Canadian happy birthday to him.
And from the sports card investor mansion with the private jet just miles away, Mr. John Anthony, how are you, sir?
Gentlemen, and I use that term very loosely with the pair that I'm doing this show with.
No kidding, man. Well, hey, we have a few things on the agenda. I think this one will take up a good portion of it. It was from the Facebook page, not ours, but one of the many buy-sell trade groups that we peruse. And actually, John, I'm going to let you go ahead and set it up because I don't have in front of me what the gentleman said.
I don't have it in front of me either. The premise of the discussion was junk era cards, and I think this is a really terrific topic, and I think we're at a point that this really defines hobby versus method to gamble versus whatever, investment, whatever. I thought the topic was terrific. I thought the gentleman had a lot of passion in what he said. I think he made a lot of really great points. And I think it's a topic that all three of us have different opinions on, and this could be a really good episode.
Okay, here's the quote. It's from Darren Doherty. He says, "The term junk cards is really starting to make me crazy. They are not worth a bunch of money. Big deal. Neither will these $200 autograph refractors, rainbows, etc. most likely. Do you have great memories collecting in those years? Do you have fun busting packs of those years with your family? Do you get excited when you get a player that was great, at least for the day you were in the ballpark? Good memories are not junk." So I agree with his sentiment 100%. I know, John, you've messed around with me because I say that 1990 Donners have a certain smell to them. But I swear to God, I remember the smell of opening 2 boxes of 1990 Donruss with my brother and my father on Christmas morning. So you have the full connection of the actual memory attached to the smell, attached to the joy of doing it. So I agree with the sentiment of that, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with the other parts. Now, Edwin, as a Cal Ripken Jr. super collector, Cal Ripken Jr. playing the most of. Let's step back just for a second, because you know where I'm going to go with my question, Edwin. But what do you guys consider the junk era? I consider the junk era 87 to about 92.
92?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because 93 is when they started putting in inserts and autographs. The Reggie Jackson autograph chase started.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a few others. I'm not saying that stuff, and that's also when they started, instead of having like one brand, they had like 1,000 brands. So that was like the beginning of Topps Finest Refractors, and so there are some cards in after 92 that actually do have value, as opposed to like 87 and 92, where essentially everything is worthless. I mean, there are very, 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 very few cards, 87 and 92. I mean, I can't even think of them off the top of my head that I consider it. So what do you guys consider the junk era? Edwin, go ahead.
I think I would agree with you probably on the start, around there. But to be honest with you, I'm gonna throw out is the junk era over? I mean, they're still mass producing a lot of cards, and granted, I'm not going to say that all the modern card sets. I mean, you look at the high-end products and things like that. Are they junk era? But at the same time, when you look at something like the top series, the base series, or some of the other ones, I mean, they mass produce these cards, right? So I think the era refers to certain subset of cards. I mean, sure, were there certain sets of cards during that era that were really high end? So I don't know. I mean, I think in general, I'm not a big junk era terminology fan. I mean, I'll do the air quotes and stuff, but I get it. I mean, it refers to, a period of time where cards were just mass produced and there were so many of them pumped out that the value of the cards decreased.
Yeah.
Generally overall. But, I don't know. I mean, the question, I would throw out is, are we out of the junk era?
I mean, by the way I framed it with my definition, I would say yes. But I mean, obviously there are more definitions. John, when do you put the junk era?
Well, Edwin made a really interesting point, a point that I didn't think he was going to make. So I want to ask you this, Brian. I want to pose this question to you. You said during your description of the junk era, you mentioned the word value. So are you associating junk with monetary value?
No. The way that I think about junk is something that is so prevalent that even all these years later, a gentleman like myself could have a pack of 1988 tops, a pack of 1989 tops, and a pack of 1990 tops with an arm's reach right out of my way. As opposed to, I mean, that's not really common in, 1977. It's very difficult to find unopened packs of like 1977 tops.
So what you're referencing, just to so that I understand, you're referencing junk as stuff that is easy to find. It has nothing to do with the value.
I'm saying that it's something that is so common and so available that it produced at such a level that every man, woman, and child in the United States of America could put together a collection of 1,000 cards. That is a lot of baseball cards, man. That's what I consider junk. It's not the monetary value, it's the availability. And ipso facto, that's why it becomes junk.
Okay. Well then I'd like to briefly bring up yes, it's Johnson. I'd like to briefly bring up, she didn't recognize you in your attire.
I'm actually dressed halfway decently. I was at a young child's birthday party, and I figured society dictated that I actually put a shirt with a collar on.
I'd like to say this to you. So there's a sector of the business that is huge that very few people are involved in, the commons business.
Oh yeah.
People buy commons, and there are the big buyers sell them by the pallet load to the repackage companies.
Right.
I will tell you this. The repackage companies do not even want to buy baseball right now of any year. They have too many. There is a backlog.
Right.
Okay? So a 5,000 count box would cost you $5 today. $5 to go into a store and buy it. It's $5. Okay? 5-row. And that's cheap if you can get a 5-row for $5. Just a brand new one, you know what I mean? These common guys are only paying $5 for 5,000 count commons right now. That's like guys paying on the higher end. So here's the question that I'll ask you. If you have 5 rows full of 2015 base cards that are stripped down of rookies, inserts, the Mike Trouts of the world, and the all-star, superstar of today,
right?
What are they? I mean, there's guys sitting on millions and millions of these.
They're absolutely junk, and I think if there's one thing that I'm confident in saying that I know is entirely true, of all the baseball cards ever produced in history, over 99% of them are worth nothing.
Okay, so
they're actually worthless.
Right, so here's my question. So what I'm saying to you is, you said the availability. You cannot go out today and find a 2010 Topps Update box for less than a crap ton because of the Mike Trout chase.
Right.
However, almost every card in that box would go into one of these $5 common boxes.
Oh, absolutely, sure.
So here's my point. My point is, you've just agreed with me, so it's not so much the availability. It has to be the monetary value.
Well,
because those boxes are not readily available, yet 99% of the cards in that box would go into a common box.
I think we're spiraling here, and so I kind of want to reframe what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, for let's use the 2010 update as an example. They're not readily available. Like, not everybody could potentially own a Mike Trout rookie card. Seriously, I mean, there's a lot, but there's not nearly as many of those as there is the 1987 Bo Jackson Future Stars.
And I'm not disagreeing. The point that I'm making is that if those cards have no value to anyone, even the guys that buy commons don't want to buy them,
right,
you would have to consider that junk. So I think junk is more, I wouldn't label it as availability. I would label it more as the monetary value. And I think there needs to be a line that's drawn between monetary junk and sentimental junk. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you remember opening, if your kid, if you open for the first time with your son, 2010 Topps Update, you're not going to say that's junk because that was like a really terrific memory that you're going to have forever.
Yes, but my soul is a never-ending abyss. So I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I mean, I think the way you're framing it is interesting, from the perspective of the emotional value versus the monetary value. I'm just looking at it very straightforward. Like, how available is this card regardless of cost?
Well, one of the things, though, it's very interesting because literally, I mean, why we started this podcast, this webinar, I sold a junk era card, what most would consider a junk era card, literally, right when we started this thing. It's a 1990 Leaf Deion Sanders rookie card, and $10. So, I mean, another man's trash or junk is another man's treasure too.
Right.
So, when you say the monetary value of it, I have boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff that I bought, that are from that same era,
Right.
So, it's interesting though. I mean, because I think it's relative. I think the terminology junk is relative to who's who's been saying it. I mean, what's junk to me is not junk to you. It's not junk to the next person. And
Well,
I think you hit upon something. There's a lot of emotional attachment to that as well.
it's the word junk that I could understand some people finding offensive to their memories. And, like, I get that. I think I'm just looking at it from a much less emotional perspective. Like, I don't take offense to the word junk era. I mean, it's like, China during one of the emperor's rules had the 3 bad years. No one's offended by that. They just weren't very good years in Chinese history. So that's what they call them. But, I mean, so this is called the junk era because most people view it as an area where cards were overproduced at such a rate that they became monetarily worthless. No one is suggesting that the memories aren't valid, they're not worth something. Of course they are. I'm looking up at 3 of those frames, like this one I have right behind me. This one has 77 Yankees in it. But 3 frames that I have junk era cards in. Because, I mean, those are my memories. It's the 1991 Fleer, what were those called? The ones that looked like the cartoons where they had like superpower.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? I don't know if they were called Beam Team or whatever the hell they were called. Maybe it was just Dream Team. I don't know.
That's what it was.
My eyes are getting so bad. Anyway, I love those cards, man. I mean, I wouldn't put them up in my home if I didn't enjoy them.
But again, you keep saying they're worthless. So
They are worthless.
So I'm going to ask you, is a box of 2016 Topps, brand new, stripped of all stars?
Yes,
and
it's worthless.
Okay, so is that junk?
Yes, that's junk.
So if it's junk
But
and it's
no,
worthless,
but it's called the junk, and there's a key word in here, John.
era.
Era. Era is the key word.
But so are you saying that every card I have a hard time with the word era and worthless and junk only because you're saying that every card. that you have to quantify then, don't you? That every card during that time is worthless, or no? I'm not saying that.
I don't think it has to be every one.
But the vast majority.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so how would you classify the vast majority of base cards in 2015?
Well, when you pare it down to just base cards, I think the answer is rather obvious.
Right.
There's a lot more than base cards.
So it doesn't Edwin make a great point that minus the relics and the autographs, we are in the junk. We are still in a junk era.
Now here's the funny story that I have from today, and this
And
actually.
that's, by the way, to interrupt you, that's strictly from a monetary value.
Oh yeah. But I'm gonna feed into your point, which is I was at a card show today where I was actually good. I didn't buy anything. It was amazing. I was looking for Strata relics and National Treasure booklets. No one had any. Anyway, so there's a guy. He set up. He just bought a collection off of someone. He opened it up. He literally looked at it for 10 seconds. Didn't even go through all the cards. It was all autographs and relics. And he just sold it to a guy for $200. Now, this was a 3-row box of all autograph and relics. But just by looking at it for 10 seconds and flipping through them real quick, he saw that there weren't any, like, Trouts or Bryants or Harpers. And he was just like, hey, I'll give it to you for $200. And the guy was like, sure, and he bought it. I mean, dude, that says something about how many autographs and relics are available when you're selling a 3-row box from side to side full of them for just $200.
So
It's amazing.
So again, here's another point. Stuff that is readily available. You can go to any dealer, okay? Not these clown people on the internet or that do shows that think they're dealers because they say, I got to buy at this price so that I can make money. I'm talking about somebody that has an inventory, a vast inventory. You can go to anyone and say, listen, I need bulk relics and autos. What's your price per card? The name doesn't matter.
How much do you charge?
For bulk relics and autos?
Yeah.
I mean, how much would I put them out for at a show? 6 for $10 on relics.
No, right. But what I'm saying is, what do you buy them for? Like 50 cents?
75 cents.
Oh, you're good. I'm gonna come to you next time because I sell mine for like 50 cents a piece.
There you go.
But I do. I mean, I end up with them through various buying, and they're not worth anything to me.
Okay, so again, we're talking about something that's sometimes 1 per box or 2 per box or 3 per box, and it's $100 a box, and you might sell all the cards in your box for $5 that you paid $100 for.
Even at $5, and this is the separation. Even at $5, that's worth something.
Okay.
You can't give away a vending box of 1987 tops. I mean, dude, you can't give it away.
I can't disagree with you.
Yeah, I mean, no one is going to want them. So.
Well, that's not true. I mean, these common guys will buy them.
Oh no, they will.
They'll buy them.
Right.
So.
But what are they doing with them, man? They're just filling stuff in.
They're reselling. They're doing the. They're doing what 99% of the people in today's hobby are trying to do: resell and make a buck.
Yeah.
Well, they're either building a set or they're slabbing them.
Oh, they're not reselling. Believe me when I tell you, these common guys, they don't care what's in there. It doesn't matter if it's 5,000 Rick Sarones. They don't care. They don't care. It could be all Steve Jeltz. It could be all Todd Van Poppel.
Felt bad for Rick Sarone.
It could be all
I don't think he had a bad career.
Oh God. Okay. It could be all could be all Phil Plantier.
All right.
So no, I want to ask you this question.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the guy made a really interesting point in his soliloquy.
Right.
He talked about rainbows and $200 autographs and refractors.
Yes.
Do either of you remember Brandon Wood?
Brandon Wood. I feel like I should remember Brandon Wood.
Okay.
Why don't I remember Brandon Wood?
Anybody who's watching this podcast that remembers Brandon Wood is getting a huge chuckle right now.
All right, go ahead.
He was an Angels prospect that was hitting 45 home runs in the minors. Okay. This guy was driving in 150 runs. He was the next impossible to miss. If I'm not mistaken, he may have been one of the very first $100 chrome autos. And I'm saying remove Pujols from the equation because
Right.
of his was a redemption. So if you remove him, I think Brandon Wood may have been the first $100 chrome auto.
Yeah.
Go on eBay right now, type in Brandon Wood chrome auto, and they won't sell for 99 cents. So, to his point, at some point, the vast majority of stuff could become worthless. So, like, nobody in 2002 or 3, whatever year it was, is saying Brandon Wood is junk. That was like gold. You pull Brandon Wood out of a pack, out of a 2003 Chrome pack, and it's like gold. It's like, forget about it.
Yeah,
See,
but I think that's
go
just the
ahead, Edwin.
whole
Sorry.
that goes with the whole territory of prospects. I mean, it's like anything else. Either they make it or they don't, or they're hot or they're not. And it's some people it's too risky for them. They can't see dropping all this money into the Chris Bryants and the Trouts and whoever else comes along next and that kind of stuff, and then find out all of a sudden their stuff's worth nothing. And I think that's to tie it back to the junk era type of thing. I think that's really what burned a lot of people is because they looked at it as this was the investment. Oh, my dad invested in baseball cards. I'm buying baseball cards. It's going to be worth something. Back to the monetary aspect of it. I think the one that resonates with everybody who was who bought baseball cards in junk era was the Mark McGwire rookie card. I think everybody has one of those stories, where they had the Mark McGwire rookie card and it was selling for so much money, and people were like, oh, I'm gonna hang on to that one. It's going to be worth so much more down the road. If it's $100 now, imagine what it's going to be down the road. And then, we see it every day, like especially on, Facebook, the web pages, the forums. It's like every other day somebody's coming up out of the woodwork saying, "Oh, I'm just getting back into the hobby. Here's my 500 row box or 500 count box of junk era cards, and how much is this worth?" And they're it's breaking their heart because people look at it and like, I don't know, donate it. I mean, people buy junk era cards by the pound. They don't even count the
Yes.
cards anymore. I mean, they put it on a scale of like $1 a pound or something. I don't know. I mean, whatever it is, it's just their hearts break.
The
So I
whole
think a
point,
lot of that kind of came into it.
the point that I'm trying to convey is that there's still a lot of junk, even today. And I understand the term junk era, but there's still so when you say junk era, Brian, are you saying that because the vast majority of cards produced are junk? That's why, right? Yes or no?
During that time frame?
Yes, the vast majority.
Yeah. Well, no, I come back to it's just the availability.
Okay, but okay.
It is. It's just, I mean, dude, everybody has a 1987 Topps Barry Bonds.
I get it. I'm just trying to say there's still tons of junk out there, but regardless, there's
I'm not debating that.
and I would say that the amount of junk that's out there, I have to go out on a limb and say it's over 80% of the cards that get produced during
Dude,
any given year.
It's not 80%. It's 99.5%.
Okay.
I mean, come on, man. You do breaks.
So
When
if
you break
99,
Bowman Chrome, how often do you stop in your Bowman Chrome? Where do you stop?
the autograph
For the hits.
or the power. So if 99.5% are junk, would this be what is this a junk era too? So just because people open all of it and there's none left to open, if you can't move the cards or nobody wants them, what does it make it? That's all I'm saying. That's my whole point.
So here it is, and this is the answer to that question. The reason that people are still nostalgic about the junk era is because that was their childhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they love it. They grew up. They put them in binders. They collected it. The other thing I saw at the card show today, man, and I was so happy to see, was kids. There were kids at the card show. They were buying cards. They were going through stuff. And who were they looking for? Harper, Trout, Bryant, Correa. They didn't care if it was an autograph or not. They would have been happy if it was, obviously. But they weren't looking for that, man. They were just looking for players that they really liked and they really enjoyed. So one day those kids will be like me and drive a very nice luxury sports vehicle and live in a nice house, and they'll want to relive their childhood all over again. And they're going to go and buy the cards. Of course, that's
So
what
in
they'll do.
okay, so in 20 years, is this gonna be the junk? Like what when does it stop?
This won't be the junk era because there are cards produced today that do not have the availability and are less available than those cards from that era, which in turn will make them, to some extent, monetarily valuable.
Okay,
That's a
so
fact.
so do you think the person that made the post or people in general just need to draw a line between monetary junk and nostalgic junk?
No, I think people need to stop getting offended by the word junk era. It's just, it's a term for that period of cards, and I think a very valid term. I don't think anyone would disagree with anything that I've said thus far in
Well,
terms of availability. I mean, it's really straightforward. That doesn't in any way, in my mind, dude, I freaking love junk gear. I just pulled packs off my shelf. I've got full boxes on my little thing right beneath me. I mean, I'm staring at the 1986, 87, 89, 1990 tops traded. I'm really, dude, I love that stuff, man. But, I mean, it's okay. I don't take it personal. I like it. It's fun for me. I'll still buy it. But, dude, when I went to the card show today, you know what I wasn't going to buy? Junk era cards. Because I already have them.
mhm.
I mean, everybody does.
No, I got you, and I think your point's well taken. I'm trying to do the best I can to play devil's advocate. I mean, I think it's just tough for a lot of people that had really loved cards during that era to like. It doesn't offend me, but it's like I don't want to call them junk, because it's like what I
Right.
did as a kid. So I think that's really where a lot of the people that get offended by it are, because it meant so much to them that it still means a lot to them.
What I've actually seen happen recently is that so many people don't even bother to, like, try and sell it, that when you do sell it, people buy it from you because no one else is even attempting it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I have actually seen that. And Edwin knows what I mean, particularly from Facebook, is like if you just post a whole bunch of like junk era cards, someone will buy them from you. Not for much. I mean, most people will mock you. So 50 people will mock you, and one person will message you and say, hey, man, I'll send you a couple bucks for those. I
You know, I
mean,
think I
I've
think
seen
there's
that.
something for everybody out there in collecting. I mean, and that's the cool thing, and different price points for different folks. I mean, not everybody can get into the high end stuff nowadays, and they're trying to, like you guys keep saying. I mean, relive their childhood or whatever. But collecting junk era rookie cards, I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, people love doing it, and they like going back and getting all the stars, and I mean, to be able to do that with a good price point. I
Yeah.
think that's what still people are attracted to. So
I think I might have mentioned this before. One thing that I really liked was at my local card shop. They sell packs of junk era cards for like almost nothing, like a quarter. So what happens is people bring in their little kids, I'd say 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Instead of spending $3, $4, $5 on a pack, they spend 25 cents. And the thing that's cool about it is they open it up. Hi, Ryan. They open it up, and they actually get to see, like, who was Cal Ripken Jr., who was George Brett, who was Mike Schmidt. So I always think that's really cool that, a card shop can sell these things for next to nothing. The kids can tear them apart. It doesn't matter. They're not trying to get a BGS 9.5, and at the same time, they learn a little bit about the history of the game. So if there is a a silver lining of the junk era is that it is still available, and that younger kids can still buy the packs and rip them open for almost nothing.
They still sell. I mean, you look at those retail stores. You can walk through Target, Walmart, Toys R Us, whatever. You see those mix and match, junk era packs in there, and people buy that shit. You buy it. I mean, I bought it before just for nostalgia purposes. I mean, and to try and see some 1980s bubble gum, but
yeah, that'll make you sick. We should point that out. Not worried about getting sued, but don't chew the gum, man. It's no good. But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know. I've thought many times about throwing my junk era cards in the trash, but I wouldn't do that. I would donate them or give them to someone that could enjoy them. But they end up just taking up too much space. I mean, that's the problem.
The other challenge too is, when you get into a lot of the junk era stuff, you're kind of limited to on, selling online because of the cost of shipping. I mean, when you're talking about, a 500 count box or whatever, it's just not. Sometimes you can spend more in shipping. Just, I mean, yeah, you can do the flat rates and the game boxes and all that stuff and ship the stuff, but you're better off even doing something local. Because to be honest with you, I would love, if I had somebody that said, oh, I love Pirates, I got boxes of Pirates, junk era cards. I'd love to trade them for Orioles. I mean, just to be honest with you, just to swap them and have the Orioles cards, I'd much more appreciate them than sitting on the Pirates or the Reds or whoever else I got tons and tons of cards of. But you're kind of limited on what you can you can do there, or what you're really willing to do. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you're gonna spend like $20 to ship a bunch of cards, just to trade them off. You're more inclined to do that stuff locally.
No, you're so limited on the variety of cards you have and all the other things that you guys already know. It actually reminded me, I was going through my collection recently, and I found a 1991 Classics basketball draft, still in the wrapper. Larry Johnson being the premier card in there. And the thing that made me laugh the most, it said, limited series, 1 of 450,000 produced. It's freaking phenomenal. I went on eBay and I was like, I have to see how much how much this sells for. There was one sold listing, and it was for 30. It was for a $30 case of 30 of those sets, and it sold for $9 with free shipping. Now come on, man. Who would buy that?
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
I tell you this, I just watched a case of 82 Tops traded sell for over 10 grand.
Wow.
A case of 82 Tops traded?
Mm-hmm.
How many sets were in a case?
I think it was like 10 or 12.
Holy God.
Yeah, 10 grand. I mean, but you think about it. I mean, you know what people are chasing in there. Let's be honest. But
a Gem Mint Ripken.
Yep. But just an open case. It was at auction.
Wow.
Well, what's funny is I'm sitting here thinking, I just sold 3 cases of Upper Deck High Number, and that's junk era, and those ended up bringing in almost $3,500 for those 3 cases when they were finally sold. So I don't know. Upper Deck, I think, is the interesting one, because Upper Deck was kind of the game changer. So what else does Upper Deck have in it aside from the Griffey? They have the Eddie. Oh, my God. It was Eddie Murphy. I was thinking of Dale Murphy, and I almost went with Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy never played baseball. He's a hell of a comic, though. It has the Eddie Murphy reverse negative error. I think that's the big one in there. The junk era is actually good for errors. Everyone knows about the Billy Ripken fuckface card.
Pedro Martinez was in the 90, right?
Yeah. But there's a website. They're not paying me. It's called JunkEraGems.com, I believe. Or just search Junk Era Gems in Google. There are some fascinating articles on there about weird production errors that occurred during printing. And I saw one. It was 1990 Jeff King. So there are 2 versions of the 1990 Jeff King card. One that's just like the standard card, and then one where the back, instead of being 3 colors, is only 2 colors.
Hmm.
So I don't know who runs that page, and I wish I knew more about that page. But they have a ton of time in their hands. Like one of them is 1988 Topps, and it is the Baltimore Orioles leader cards. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with this one, Edwin.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one where they have like one has like a red streak, and then one has like a little red streak, and then one. Dude, it's insane like how they break that down with the variations.
Those sites are really cool. There's a couple of them out there that are just dedicated to the error cards, and anytime that I go through like my old junk era, cards or whatever the case may be, most of them are by years and whatnot. I love looking at the websites first, and then I go through and you basically hunt for those cards. You're looking for like the Randy Johnson Marlboro sign.
Marlboro sign.
There's like 3 different variations. Well, there's like
there's like 10 variations.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people don't even know about that Billy Ripken F face card. They sit there and think it's only a couple of them. There's like 30 of them, 30 different variations out there. It's crazy.
Is it really 30? I thought there was the whiteout, the blackout, the scribble, the F face.
They have the cuts. They have the all the test cards. They have all kinds of stuff, man. There's a website out there dedicated just to that card and all the different variations. It's crazy.
That's cool.
It'll blow your mind when you go out there and look at it.
Make sure that when you post this episode up, you post up that link.
Okay, I will.
Put the Junkyard Gems on there, and then because I want to read now. I'm curious about this Billy. Because dude, all you know about is the ones in the book.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing is they don't put a lot of those junk era variations in there. Looking at me getting all excited about the junk era now, John. Like I'm all fired up. I got some packs here. I want to rip through them, try and find my Billy Ripken F face. I don't know if that is just like self-motivated, but I guess I will give the junk era a little credit. It is awesome for the nostalgia and also very cool with the errors. The junk era did a great job producing a lot of errors and then correcting them during the print run, because I guess they had nothing better to do, so they might as well fix it. So you got a few different variations of each card.
Yeah, BillyRipken.com.
It's just BillyRipken.com?
Oh, it's dedicated to that card. So
what you're saying is someone bought BillyRipken.com, and it's not Billy Ripken?
Sorry, it's BillRipken.com.
Okay, I was going to say, even so, how does BillRipken.com not forward you to BillyRipken.com?
I got friends on Facebook that own like HalRipken.net and different cards. Trust me, there's a lot of fans run this stuff.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So, John, are you done beating me up over the junk era?
Yeah, I'll concede this one.
Holy, it is 7:03. What is today? Hold on, let me get the date right. It is on the 21st of February at 7:02. John has conceded an argument for the first time in all the time that I've known him.
Write it down. I concede.
I'm gonna bask in the glory.
I concede.
Look at the look on his face.
I know, it makes me sick to say that I concede, but I concede. I concede.
You must be tired.
I'm not tired. I can't. I've spent the last 10 minutes thinking of how I can make a case for this, but this stuff is friggin' garbage.
Dude, it's a hard one. It would be like being a lawyer for someone that killed someone in broad daylight on videotape with like 100 witnesses around.
Well, let me tell you something. If you're going to pay me $1,000 an hour to come up with an argument why this stuff is in junk, I'll start working friggin' now.
You'll start working now?
Yeah, right now. Right now. But no,
Johnny,
you're right.
Instead of Johnny Anthony, it's Johnny Cochran Anthony.
Yeah, it is
$1,000 an hour.
It is junk. It's just hard to say that it's not, because it's got so many memories for so many people. That's all. So let's move on. Why don't we move on to our next thing about the RC logos, the prospect cards, what's a rookie card, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Did I say et cetera?
Well, hold on. I don't want to move on to that because we don't have a lot of time left, because we went a little long with the junk era stuff. So I did want to ask you, What's coming out next? Like,
A,
what's up, man?
a laundry list of football. Baseball has me so aggravated. I mean, this industry does not attract the best and the brightest, and without any barriers to entry, you've got like some of the really dumbest people running this industry. There's like 5 football products this week. I'm serious. Like, come on, man, it's ridiculous. There hasn't been a football product for a while, then you put 5 in a week. So that's football. Baseball, we've got no baseball till Topps Heritage, and then after Topps Heritage, I don't know, another month. So we're going really extreme periods of time with not a lot of product out there, and it's kind of frustrating. There's a lot of people
Edwin,
really excited about 2016 stuff.
yeah, I was just gonna ask Edwin if are you into Heritage, man?
I've broken some cases open myself personally. I don't know. It's one of those that you can rip for a long time.
Right.
You know, but there's some really cool cards in there. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've done that. You know, but I don't know. I'm waiting until the end of March. That's when Museum's coming out. I'll say it again.
One of my favorite cards is a Heritage card. It's the 2014 Heritage, which was after 1965, with the Andrew McCutcheon error where it says Pittsburgh on the back instead of Pittsburgh, because that's how the 1965 Clemente was. So that was one of my favorite cards, man. It was like that SP error. So I kind of like Heritage card. John, I can't imagine you're going to be ripping much of that for breaks.
We've got a couple of cases coming in.
Of Heritage?
Yeah, you can. I mean, first of all, you can hit
Dude,
some.
how do you even spot the hits in there?
What do you mean?
It's hard.
Yeah, well, excuse me. No, I mean, there are relics, there's autos, there's 1 per box. I think it's 1 per box. I don't even think it's 2 per box.
But the hard part is like
you're talking about the variations.
The variations, man, with like the old school uniforms.
That's why I just ship all the cards and I don't worry about it. If somebody gets a really rare variation, it's coming in the mail.
And that's a great product to buy like a team in, you know.
Yeah,
oh my god! And the other thing is, you don't know who the variations are, or short prints, or you don't know any. We don't know any of that till like the second week or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they've made it easier to spot because typically they do portraits. Like, because this year's 1967, and 1967 for the most part was portraits.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's not a portrait, if it's like an action photo, then that's like the action variation. Mm-hmm. So they have made it a little bit easier.
Yeah, they'll put numbers on the back so you can kind of tell which. You can usually look at the numbers on the back and bottom of the card and kind of spot what it is based on a number.
I can't even see 5 feet in front of me, Edwin. How am I supposed to look at those little numbers on the back of the damn card? No, I know what you mean. That's a very good point. If someone's listening and they're not really, they didn't know that. On the Topps products, they have the codes on the back, and you can figure out what they are pretty quick if you have young eyes. But I can't spot them with mine. Do you have any more National Treasures coming up, John?
We may have a little bit. The price is starting to get out of touch.
What's putting NT? What's pushing that price up so much?
Well, I mean, if you really like to know what's pushing that price up, I don't think that Panini released all of it. All the people that I buy from don't have anymore. The people that do are charging an outrageous price, even to people like myself. And this is what manufacturers do that people don't understand, or that not that they don't understand, that they don't have to deal with or know about. So Panini will bundle like 3 products together to say, okay, you want National Treasures? Here's what you have to do. You got to buy A, B, and C, and X amount of each one to get 1 case of National Treasures. So it's like, I got to shovel, all this garbage. Am I supposed to sell this to my customer? Like, I know it's trash. Am I supposed to sell this so that I can get 1 case of treasures at what I think is a reasonable price, or what I should be charged? So no. To answer your question, we probably don't have any more National Treasures down the pipe. It's just too expensive right now. I don't think it makes sense unless I can get it at a good price.
Right.
I don't feed into that nonsense.
Yeah, that's the one Panini product, even more so than Immaculate. And I know a lot of people like Immaculate, but I really like National Treasures, man.
No, I like National Treasures. I like both products a lot. But not for nothing, I don't know if anybody's watched the run that we've been on. I think I've hit like 7 1-of-1s, no joke, in the last 3 days. You guys didn't even.
I did see the one post from the gentleman on one of the pages about what was it, like Bryant and Baez and like all the different laundry tags? That was a pretty cool card, man.
Started with a
I bet you
Swihart.
that. I bet you that won't be junk in 20 years.
I would tend
I
to
bet you
agree with you.
someone will still. I bet you someone will still want that card and
We
pay
hit-
good money for it. In
We
20
hit a
years.
Swihart, 1/1 immaculate auto. We hit a Schwarber, not Schwarber, Rizzo, 1/1 MLB logo man auto. We
Yeah,
hit
that was
that was awesome. We hit an Abreu, 1/1 dual laundry tag auto from immaculate. We hit a 1/1 cut auto out of 5-star of a White Sox deceased executive who's in the Hall of Fame. We hit that 1/1 quad relic. We hit that's 5, and I know we hit a Freddie Freeman Superfractor auto out of Topps Finest. That's 6, and if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken,
I
there's
saw that.
one more.
There was one gentleman who wanted it very much.
Yeah, I know who he is. I
Yeah,
think the owner and he are.
they're working to work that out.
Yeah,
It's always nice, but
yeah.
all right, guys, my stomach is growling a lot. I'm gonna eat steak and drink wine
Must
and
be
pass
nice. Must be nice.
out. It's actually awesome, especially the hot tub after you eat everything, man. Like you're already good, and then like you get it. I don't mind the hot tub on a full belly, as you well know. I just want to watch my John Anthony breaks on a full tummy in the hot tub, and then I sleep like a baby.
He's gonna throw another 500 count junk air box on the fire.
Friggin' guys living the life of Riley.
I would never throw any of my baseball cards on the fire. They have too much emotional meaning to me, Edwin.
And I,
So-
Brian, someone had
What's
mentioned that they have a really cool picture of you. Would you mind if I share this photo? They say it's pretty rare.
A rare photo of me?
Yeah. Hang on one second.
Is it from the hot tub?
It is. Let me.
I don't think I've
find
seen
it.
this yet.
Yeah, you haven't. Can you guys see that?
Wait, what? Hold on.
I don't know. There's this rumor going around that you were.
That was not, dude. First and foremost, I gotta be honest. That looks like a hell of a lot of fun.
Oh man.
I don't know. I mean, if we're gonna share photos,
Oh no, Edwin, don't do it.
I mean. I'm just saying.
Oh man.
All right, guys.
I don't even know how to stop you.
We'll save the Brian McCutcheon for next time.
Thank God we didn't get the Brian McCutcheon. That's good. I don't want that one out there. No, I would take his W2. So anyway, guys, thanks for checking us out. I hope you enjoyed it. What are we up to on the Twitter?
The Twitter. I love how he calls it. I don't even know how to stop screen sharing. That's how untech savvy I am.
That's amazing.
If you saw my screen right now, there's 65 boxes
I can
open.
see your screen right now.
I
It
don't.
looks like something from the Museum of Modern Art.
I don't know what's going on here. This is.
Edwin, help him.
I don't know, but he needs to call Otterbox about that case, though.
Yeah, this is why I keep Edwin on the payroll, man. This is crazy.
That's
Stop
amazing.
staring
It
at
looks
the
like
top.
Done. Stop hitting buttons, for God's sake.
I don't know, man.
I mean,
We better end it.
all right, guys. Thanks for checking us out. Check out the Sultans of Swap Facebook page. We got a good group of guys in there. Really appreciate it. Hit us up on Twitter with any questions or topics that you want to see, and we're happy to wax nostalgic about them. So take it easy, guys. See ya.